Let us take a moment to still our hearts, quiet our minds, and center ourselves, especially me. Okay, I think I'm ready. It's Easter again. We live inside paradox. Humans generally don't like to admit it. We much prefer tidy, stable, comprehensible, logical ways of getting through our day. But paradox is woven into the fabric of this universe we inhabit. Light is both a particle and a wave. Imaginary numbers describe the math of physical phenomena. Love and grief are intricately linked, as are rage and sorrow, suffering and compassion, life and death. Time itself is both linear and cyclical. Each person's life traces a single arc, yet patterns emerge and reemerge. Fear always seems to return. Goodness knows terror finds its way back into the news. We always seem in need of help to roll back the big stones that block our way. Yet, we also come back to Alleluia, even if its absence has gone on far longer than the 40 days of Lent. We raise each other's spirits when our sacred places seem empty. We anoint each other. We engage in a demanding faith that asks us to love the next world into being today. We are joyful, though we have considered all the facts. We practice resurrection. It is Easter again, my friends, and you are surrounded by a multitude who wish you well. Janet will light the chalice here in the sanctuary, and those of you at home are invited to light your own chalice now. As we light this chalice, may each breath remind us of the sacred rhythm of life, the pulse of creation, and the power we hold to shape the world around us. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you to sing as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous occasion. Please stand in body and spirit and sing the opening hymn, Now the Green Blade Rises. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We are glad you joined us today. Our UUCC sanctuary sits on the land that the Salinan and Chumash indigenous people historically inhabited. We honor their contribution to this region and give thanks for the opportunity to gather in faith on their unceded territory. Let us respect their legacy and protect their history as we occupy this sacred place. As Unitarian Universalists, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation run by the democratic process. We invite speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual and scientific backgrounds, as well as community leaders to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest that connect with the UU 7 principles and 6 values: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. Today's service centers around the 6th principle, the goal of the world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. My name is Julia Stannard, and I am your worship associate for today. I would like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We are glad you joined us this morning. If you would like, please raise your hand and introduce yourself or your guest. Oh, Anita.
My name's Anita, and I just moved here from Taos. And everyone's just, wow.
It is wow.
So my husband couldn't handle the altitude. It's at 7,000 feet, so we moved here. Wow.
Good choice, yes.
For lack of a better word, a sangha.
Yeah,
Sangha.
that's a good one.
It's a group of spiritual people.
Thank you.
My daughter Andrea, Shane's mom.
Oh,
My name is Andrea.
hi, Andrea. Hi, Shane. Lovely.
Thank you.
If you are not on our mailing list, please visit the UUCC website at uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed of all our activities. Members and friends, check out what's happening. The email blast sent to you every week. This is a great way to keep up to date with our latest news. If you wish to see this or any past Zoom services, the recordings can be found on the UUCC website and on Facebook. So again, good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to everyone. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of this community as well as a promise to which we aspire. Let us now recite the affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and freedom, and to help one another. We set aside this time for brief announcements that will be of interest to our community and friends. Please be succinct when announcing upcoming events or updates. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand, and when Ben or I call on you, come up to the podium and unmute yourself on Zoom, then speak.
Hey,
Hi.
I am speaking on behalf of the Scholarship Committee, which has been led so admirably up to now by Maria Rao and our great committee. Thank you so much. I was not able to participate at the time, but I'm going to jump in now and try to corral a little bit more money. I feel like Jerry Lewis at the telethon. We are so close to getting $12,000 that we need for 12 really, really deserving students here in Cambria. 11 from Coast Union and 1 from Leffingwell High School, which is actually closing this year. This is the last student we will give a scholarship to from Leffingwell, so it's really sad. But we need $425. And if 4 people write a check for $106.25, we'll reach our goal. So please, please think about it. If you write a check, just write it to UUCC, but in the memo line, write scholarship fund. Thank you so much. We need it by May 5th.
I'm standing here in place of Andy this morning, just to remind folks that there's a men's group meeting this Monday, 10 o'clock, in the sanctuary here and also via Zoom. And Andy happens to have already sent out the Zoom link, so it's there for anyone. So look forward to seeing any of the men who are choosing to come. Thank you.
Next week, from Hingham, Massachusetts, Reverend Ken Reed Brown will present There Are Also Musicians. Joys and Concerns is a time for sharing personal celebrations, sorrows, reflections, and gratitude. This is a time for community building. Please exercise brevity. Thank you. The collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and concerns which have gone unspoken today, but also are deeply felt in this community. The first reading is an essay by Dana Lee Simon titled The Possibility of Joy. Alice Walker once said, "Resistance is the secret to joy." The theme of joy has been reverberating as a holy echo in my life over the past months. Joy feels like one of the most compassionate offerings I can hand over to the depth of my soul, which in many moments, on many days, is throbbing with anger and overwhelm beyond what I can explain. The most obvious explanation is simply that I am paying attention. Also, maybe puberty's bookend, menopause. My clearest observation about joy bouncing around inside of me is that she's never by herself, and her unlikely companions surprise me. Sorrow and suffering, fear and fraudulence, pain and perseveration. Perseveration. How I practiced a lot on that. How joy has the audacity to sidle up to these unlikely characters is beyond me. I am in awe when she appears like a grace, beyond my own doing. It's a wonder when she arises like a gift, beyond my own deserving. And I'm becoming more aware of my own agency in inviting joy's emergence. As I attune my attention to the reality of the world and my own life, it helps me figure out my intention, the intention that has more to do with the how than the what. How am I going to show up in my life? How do I want to live out my values in the process of my own transformation? How do I hold all of life's complexities while trying to show up as my whole self? As I deepen my intention, my agency, my power rises up, showing me the possibilities. One of the possibilities is always joy. I can choose her or not. She is not a bypass of everything in this world that is hard to hold and feel. She is a tool that helps us grapple with their reality. She is like finding something you thought you lost forever. She is like a rain falling on parched, cracked ground. She is like the person at a party who approaches you when you're feeling lonely. I choose her, I can, and I do. Let us enter a place of peace and serenity where you are one with your spiritual being. Be at peace within your space where the absence of all that is temporal is its most cherished gift. Let us enter the stillness. When love and compassion are present in us and we send them outward, then that is truly prayer. Further, in sending love outward, we notice a change in our own heart. Time for the second reading. Hold on. The second reading is an essay by Ellen Cooper titled, "Let the Alleluias Rise Up." Every year, the same conundrum. How do we find our way into Easter when, for us, the most important part about Jesus of Nazareth is his teachings rather than his death? Like many traditional holidays, it must have some meaning to us beyond its commercial trappings. But what is the meaning exactly? What are we to make of the death of one Jewish teacher 2,000 years ago in a world where we hear daily of violence, death, and injustice? When I left my Christian upbringing, the first thing I wholeheartedly threw out the window was the cross. I kept the bunny, the eggs, the chocolate, but the whole death and resurrection thing was right out. Many years later, I reluctantly let little bits of it back in, mostly around the resurrection and rebirth. It was an easy metaphor to embrace for a holiday that, in many places, ushers in springtime. But it is only in the very recent years that the whole story has again found a place in my spirituality, that Easter takes on a deeper meaning than it ever did when I was a child. No alleluias until Easter, my daughter told me solemnly. Shh, the alleluias are sleeping. She pointed to the small raised garden bed being warmed by the spring sun, where I could see the sprouts of trumpet lilies pushing up through the soft dirt. Before Easter, she said, summed up, no alleluias. After Easter, alleluias again. Or perhaps the simplest and most elegant explanation of Easter I have ever heard, without all the complicated and problematic substitutionary, there, let me do that again. Without all the complicated and problematic substitutionary atonement theology, without the irrationalism. Oh, okay. Of missing bodies or visitations from the dead. This is Easter stripped down to the most central heart of hearts message. We have alleluias in our lives, moments of triumph and wonder, of insight and rebirth. These are moments of transformation, when our way of being in the world is fundamentally changed, strengthened, deepened, when we feel more whole, more connected. The exuberant and joyful alleluia is a good way to think of these moments. But as my Christian colleagues are fond of saying, you can't get to Easter without Good Friday. The story of the resurrection cannot go forward without a death. Sometimes the most profound transformations are the ones that emerge out of deaths that we face in our lives. It may be a literal death, the hole left in your life when a beloved has gone and you feel unmade by the loss. It may be one of the 1,000 lesser losses, the loss of a job or a friendship, death of a marriage or partnership, change in physical or mental abilities, even the death of a long-held dream. These places of grief are barren places in our lives, God-forsaken places that teach us sorrow and suffering and lamentation. But feeling forsaken is not the same as being forsaken. The story of Easter tells us that death doesn't win. Love wins. Like the saplings that sprout among the ruins of a forest fire, like the phoenix who is born from its own ashes, like the crocus that pokes through the snow in each spring, like the banana tree which dies but lives on in its children, hope arises. Hope arises even in the face of death. Even in our wilderness, we are never completely lost. The end. Please stand in body and spirit and sing "Lo, the Earth Awakes Again," number 81.
Bring relief and flower
Margaret Biggs will deliver a sermon titled Resurrection for the Unitarian Universalists by Reverend David Schwartz. I am not sure when, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, Margot sat with Kat and I in the back. I have to say, the first time I looked over to see Margot was a magical experience. Margot continued to join us, typically arriving 10 to 15 minutes after service began and leaving before the service ended, adding to her mystique. Margot, you have given so much of yourself. You have inspired me to give more. You are delightful, and your husband Jordan is a treasure. Thank you for finding us, joining us, and being our friend. And to top it all off, as Jan said in worship committee a few weeks ago, she's as cute as a button. Margot.
Reverend David Schwartz is a, quote, parent, partner, a pastor, a preacher, and a person. He has been the lead minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder, Colorado, since 2021. He is a graduate of Harvard Divinity School, and he was a senior co-minister at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Chicago. This sermon was delivered by Reverend David Schwartz on Easter of 2022, and it's called Resurrection for Unitarian Universalists.
This morning's offering will now be given and received. Please remember we're a self-sustaining congregation and provide all the financial resources for our many ministries. We recognize the spiritual value of generosity and invite you to participate. If you are viewing this service remotely, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. our thanks for all the gifts given and received for the work of this community. Please stand in body or spirit and sing the closing hymn, A Promise Through the Ages Rings, number 344. As we prepare to extinguish the chalice, let us recite the valediction. We have basked in the warmth of beauty of this flame and this community. As the chalice flame is extinguished, we carry its glow onward. Let us kindle new sparks within these walls and beyond. Please extinguish your chalice at home. Now let's form a circle and join hands. Margot. Thank you.
Okay, the Psalms tell us that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. May we hold fast to the desire to search for joy, the intention to find it, and the courage to live it out loud.